As we're under 3 hours approaching the debate, we're starting to hear drips of what each of the main points here the two candidates are going to try and focus on, and we already know that there's some zingers, whatever that is, coming from the Romney camp, right?
Yeah,
Andrew?
but aside from that, we're pretty tight for what we're hearing from the Obama campaign so far. We are hearing, though, that the president's going to try to press Mitt Romney for policy specifics tonight, primarily on Romney's tax, budget, and jobs plans, but also on energy, education, and health care, including how Romney would provide coverage and lower cost if health care reform was repealed. From Romney, expect the line, do we want another 4 years like the last 4? Also, policy alternatives, things Romney will do as opposed to simply rolling back Obama policies, what he will offer. And very likely Romney personal stories, maybe about his wife Ann or his father George. And I wouldn't be surprised to hear some stuff about his time at Bain Capital, Rich, trying to turn what has been to this point a PR negative into a positive.
All right, let's talk about messaging. And that'd be interesting. I'd be surprised if you did that, but okay. Let's talk about messaging both in terms of what you're going to say and specifically the tone you'll say it. And we've seen candidates on the state level and on the national level, when they try and get too cute, a lot of times it backfires on them. But let's start with Mitt Romney. Does he, A, take an aggressive stance, and does he go after the president, or does he try and say, hey, I'm on equal footing here, I'm presidential, this is what I'll do to fix the country, or does he attack the record?
I think he needs to remind the people of the shape that the country's in, and I think he needs to focus on jobs. I think he needs to say that I have the experience, I have the qualifications, here's what I have done, here's what I will do to get...
Specifics?
You know what? I think that he had a very good point in the 60 Minutes interview, is that I think all elected officials, we hammer them on the specifics, but there is a very valid point as to why you don't want to drill down so far that you leave yourself in a box. And that's because ultimately you got to negotiate with somebody. And you take away all of your negotiating room if you just say, here's my cards, they're on the table, etc. I mean, having worked with a governor who's got to deal with Shelley Silver on one side, Joe Bruno at the time on the other, you say as least as possible until you get into the room.
Gotta win, right?
You do have to get in the room. So I do think that to some level that one of the things he has left out and he may need to do tonight, and I think he will do it to some degree, is he needs to throw out some specifics on how am I going to fix this economy.
How about tone? Does he get aggressive?
You know what? I think that tonight is not about being funny or quirky. I think that he can't appear that Obama is taking advantage of him in any way if he needs to be tough. But he shouldn't walk into it that, you know, I'm going to get into a little street fight here with the President of the United States. I don't think that works out well.
Like when Reagan did that line with Mondale about age, not everybody can deliver that line.
Right, no.
And it's sometimes it falls flat and it just seems contrived. He can get away with it because he can get away with saying anything. A few guys, if any, have that. On the flip side, the prevailing wisdom is Obama's just got to do no harm. Just don't have any mistakes here. I've heard others say, this is going to be the most watched debate here. Go for the knockout. Try and end this thing right now, and then you're going to see Romney having, the next stories are going to be, where's he shifting his money? Is he pulling money out of Ohio and all the rest? What advice would you give him if you were in the back room here getting ready for tonight?
Well, look, the president's got to do exactly what we've talked about, which is he's got to try to drill Romney on specifics, because Romney does box himself in. He did it in the presidential primaries when he committed another $2 trillion to defense above and beyond what the Defense Department's asking for. That blows a hole in his tax argument. That blows a hole in the budget and explodes the debt. So the more that the president can keep him on the defensive, Mitt Romney tends to say, you know, not the most helpful things when he's pressed.
Guys, you know, the thing that comes out of this, we had a line that we were talking about after the debate, you know, about Gore, after the Bush-Gore debate. People who watched the whole debate said, oh, it was pretty much a draw. But what was the famous headline that came right out of it?
Gore sighed and he lied.
Right, and it's a soundbite. People believe in soundbites and bumper stickers. With that in mind, what do you think, you know, each camp is trying to accomplish for the soundbite for tomorrow?
I think for the president, it's that he's presidential and that he's, you know, on the job, that he's got it covered, to be Mr. Cool as it would. And for Romney, I think it's provide a legitimate option. I think the line that you're going to hear a lot is, you know, it's okay to like President Obama and still vote against him, without necessarily saying that specifically. Trying to give people a legitimate alternative, not just he's screwed things up so badly, I'm the only.
Don, but you disagree because you said before, this is his chance to, if not say the name Reverend right here, to try and paint a thing that you got an out-of-touch president who's a wealth redistributor, and that this is a guy who's not mainstream America.
Here's what I guarantee you will happen tonight. We'll see in a few hours, and we'll see if I'm right or not. Mr. Romney is going to pull up words from Obama from 4 years ago, from the president, when he was a candidate. And he's going to pull up words that say to the effect, Mr. President, you promised us you could walk on water, but yet the economy is not better. And so he's going to try and get Obama to stumble or appear defensive, and Obama is going to try and get him to do exactly the same thing. My money would be on the person that's going to stumble and slip. It's going to be Mr. Romney. It's not going to be Obama.
Yeah, I think that Dominic's right, is that I would remind the president who called George Bush immoral because of his debt and remind President Obama, well, if you call George Bush immoral, what in God's name does that make you? Because you're beyond immoral.
So this plan lines, not just the answer. This plan lines
and I'll tell you what
answers,
will also come up, and it will slip in tonight, and it's a foreign policy question that's going to slip in some way. Because
it's about domestic issues.
You're right. It's domestic issues. Is that on September 11th, when we had a terrorist attack in an embassy overseas, the President of the United States was collecting cash in Las Vegas. And that's going to come up some way, shape, or form tonight, because it shows this president is really out of touch with a lot of things.
Well, you can tell the closer you get to an election that this is not going to be some collegiate debate. This thing is starting to get right. It's getting tough, and with the third parties that we see right now and the surrogates, it's going to get even tougher. Remember, keep the conversation going online. Go to our Facebook page, sound off. What do you want to hear during the debate tonight? And don't forget, you're going to have a chance to call in tonight and sound off on how you think the two candidates did. Again, our toll-free number right there on your screen. All right, we're going to take a break. But when we come back, Obama, he got himself a little October surprise today. An old video come back to, if not haunt him, certainly aggravate him. Will it continue to dog him during the debate tonight? Dominic's been talking about this for a long time. I have to admit, as much as I hate to, the man was right. Stay with us. We'll talk about that after this.